Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time you are watching this. Hey, y'all. Hey. So, as you already read the title down below, I am going to recap the movie Thrash because I love a good shark movie. Like I'm talking top tier chaos. One of my favorites will always be Deep Blue Sea. So, anytime I see sharks involved, I'm a little, at least a little curious. But for some reason, when Netflix started promoting Thrash, I wasn't in a rush to watch it. I added it to my watch list and planned on getting to it whenever. But the other day, I was ordering a lift, and every single car on the app around like the area I was in had sharks. So it wasn't a car like it usually is. It was sharks. So I'm like, what the hell is this? I thought I had got hacked because, what's happening. Come to find out, it was just, a promotion for the movie. So I said, oh, if y'all going this hard, say less. It sounded like in. So the second I got home, I turned it on. From the jump, I already knew this movie was about to be a beautiful mess I wouldn't be able to look away from. We got this massive storm rolling in, like end of the world type of vibes, and everybody is preparing to pack up and trying to get out, except for Dakota. Miss Ma'am was on the phone trying to order a burger for delivery in the middle of a natural disaster. And not only that, when the burger spot told her they were closing and can't deliver, she thought it would be a bright idea to walk and go get the burger. I said, yeah, she's going to stress me out this entire movie. I just know it. Okay? I already knew. And just when I thought it couldn't get worse, she had the nerves to have a panic attack in the middle of the road or street or wherever they was at. Everybody scrambling around her and she going crazy. Like, girl, you created this situation. Get it together. Hello? Somebody. Moving on, we got introduced to Dr. Edwards, a marine biologist. And when I saw, how you say his name? Jamon Hunsu? Jamon Hunsu? Whatever. I was like, oh yeah, it's time to lock in because when he in movies, he usually don't fuck off, in his roles. Granted, I do feel like in this movie, they didn't use him as good as I would have liked them to use him. I was ready for him to go to war with the sharks, but that didn't happen. Granted, he did what he was supposed to do with having a niece like Dakota who does not listen. So he knew what was coming and was telling her she needs to leave the house she was in. Mind you, at this point, other people in the neighborhood have told her the same thing already, but she wants to be hard-headed and a weirdo for some strange reason and not, taking the situation as serious as she should have, especially if I have an uncle that's a marine biologist. Like, if he tell me to get up and go during a natural disaster, I think I need to get up and go. But she was so hell-bent on staying in his house. And I'm just sitting watching like, why do movies always do this? Why do they always have that one character who just refuses to use common sense? It gets under my skin so bad, but it's always, it's also the reason I stick around to be like, I just knew it. Like, whatever happened to them, whatever bad thing happened to them, I'm like, I knew that was gonna happen. They built that up in the beginning. But moving on in the film, we got introduced to the Olsen foster kids, and listen, they were already getting on my nerves too. Everybody was getting on my nerves because they outside playing in the flood waters, jumping into swamps or rivers or lakes, whatever it is, that clearly has snakes and gators and God knows what else swimming around during the storm. So their foster dad, Billy, was yelling at them when he put up on them doing, that crazy mess of them jumping in the water. And I'm not going to lie, I agree with all the yelling he was doing to them at that moment because what the hell and why the hell y'all doing that? It just wasn't clicking to me. Now, don't get me wrong. He definitely was giving off terrible father vibes or foster father vibes. Like, you can tell he wasn't a little right in the head. But in that moment, he wasn't wrong. Because at the end of the day, who got to pay the hospital bill if y'all get hurt, y'all get sick, something happens to y'all? I do. And baby, I ain't got time for that. But granted, if you're a foster father, you be getting them checks for them kids. But beyond all that, I still didn't like him. Because you could just tell he was a problem. Like, you just knew it. He just gave off that energy. Now, Lisa, was the one who I was actually feeling bad for. From the beginning, from the moment she was introduced, like my heart went out to her immediately because what do you mean you're pregnant, about to pop, your baby daddy left you to basically be a bum, talking about something to be a professional poker player, a bum, even though he was the one to bring you to this godforsaken town. And on top of that, you're forced to go into work, even though the company knows a terrible flood is about to happen. So now you're stuck because the interstate is closed. So I'm just sitting here watching, like, yeah, this is exactly how people end up in the worst situations, just trying to, survive and make a living. She was one of those people who, always follow rules. Well, I could tell she was one of those people that like to follow rules to her own detriment. But that job would have had to kiss me and my unborn baby ass because I would have been out long gone. Because I bet you they was out while you got me sticking around. But being introduced to Lisa is when everything went left. And I mean, crazy. So Lisa ended up on the road trying to escape the flood as it was heading her way. And this meat truck driver who she works with was telling her to drive through a tree that fell in the middle of the road to, get across. Mind you, Lisa was driving this little putt-putt ass car. So it wasn't going to do too much. And it didn't. And then this fool, the meat truck driver, God knows, I wish I remember this man's name. I'm so mad that I can't remember his name. But this crazy man decides it would be a bright idea to drive straight into the flood. Like, what was the reason for that? And like, literally, it made no sense. I was so confused. Like, was he trying to get somewhere? Like, I don't know, but he knew the flood was coming. So now the water swept him and Lisa back, and she ended up trapped in her car, pinned, pregnant, and stuck to a tree while the flood waters kept rising. And then the truck he was driving split open, so all the meat and blood juice flooded damn near the entire town, attracting all these bull sharks that were already in the area or near the area. And you already know what that means. You in danger, girl. I'm so corny. Now, when I tell you those bull sharks came in aggressive, no warning, no circling, no buildup, they were biting heads off, taking lambs, just straight up munching. And even though the CGI was a little questionable at times, I'm not even gonna lie. Once the action picked up, I was still screaming and clutching my chest like it was real. Because the way they were moving, it felt real. It just looked fake, which I hate. But we're gonna get into that. Now let's get back to Billy and the foster kids. And the foster kids he has with this lady named Rachel. Now Billy was a whole nut, and I already knew he was crazy, but he a true nut. And he was another person that refused to leave the town. Mind you, he had enough time to leave, so I don't understand why he didn't leave. Nut. But he did it because he felt like his house was safe, because he installed these like storm-proof windows and other things that would keep the house from falling apart. Baby, those windows broke quicker than rusted pipes in 2.5 seconds the moment the flood got high enough to push through. So now the house is flooded and sharks are in the area. And instead of getting to higher ground, Ron, who is like one of the foster kids, reminded Billy about his truck being like I guess submarine proof or something. I don't know. I never even heard of it. I didn't even know there was a thing, but it was submarine proof. So it could, I guess, drive through the floods. So Billy and Rachel decides to go to the truck and leave the kids inside. And the second they stepped out, those sharks were on them like white on the rice. First, one of the sharks bit off Billy's arm. And instead of Rachel trying to move around and get on top of the truck or do something just to get away, she starts backing out of the garage. And you guessed it, the sharks got her and got her real good. But Billy and his bitten arm was trying to run out of the garage and save her. But she was already a goner. She was gone. So when he looked back up, he just see the kids in the window looking all shocked and sad, puppy dog face. Even though they really ain't care for Rachel or they don't care for Billy, it was sad to see like this lady was taking care of us and she done got munched up in front of us. But Billy looked them kids dead in their face, turned around and went straight to his truck so he can get up and lead their ass. I mean, Billy is the true definition of them kids. But the sharks handled him. He didn't even make it inside his truck. They started tearing him up immediately. Like, oh my God. This movie it tickled me now that I'm thinking about it. But anyways, going back to Dakota, she was still in the house, but she made it to higher ground. well, to a higher floor. So she saw everything that was happening right in front of her house, which was basically Lisa and these people trying to save her because, she trapped in the car at this point, and then it's other people riding by. So they're trying to save her. The lady pregnant. There's a whole lot going on. Imagine while all this is happening, the water is still rising and the sharks are now in the area. Child, listen, those people never even had a chance of surviving because remember the area that they are in is where most of the sharks are because this is where the meat truck driver split his truck open so all the blood from the meat is in the area. So yeah, it was over for them in a quickness. I felt bad because they were trying to help, but I guess this is how Mother Nature repays the people with kind heart, child. This is how it goes down. So now at this point, it's just Dakota in the house watching from above and Lisa trapped below. So of course, Lisa is begging Dakota to help, but my girl was on some, I feel bad for you, but I can't help you because I just seen sharks rip 3 grown-ass men apart and I am not in the business of risking my life. But stay right there. I'm trying to get a hold of someone to help you. So mind you, stay right there. She's stuck. But meanwhile, all the calls that she's trying to make, they not going through because the service have disconnected. Like the town is flooded. Like it's nothing can happen. No calls can go out. Like baby, you on your own. And I ain't gonna lie, I am Dakota, and Dakota is me because I felt where she was coming from. Because ain't no way I'm about to get eaten up too. Because now we all gonna be fucked. And I'd rather just watch from above. Sorry, or try to find a rope or something. I don't know. But then, Lisa hit her with the "I'm pregnant, help me." Everything changed from them. Now Dakota fought through another panic attack after all this happened. This girl keep having panic attacks, and I hate that they did not give us a reason why she was having a panic attack. Like I know, it had something to do with her mom passing or something of that nature, but it wasn't clear. She just kept having them. So after she had her panic attack, she immediately, slipped into the water because now this lady done told me she's pregnant. I gotta help her. Like you gotta help her. Like you got to. So she slipped into the water and hell, she damn near gave me a panic attack because she fell. Like she slipped, she slipped off the roof and fell into the water, and that is what damn near gave me a panic attack. Because I'm like, no, Dakota, not now. But somehow she put it together after getting out of the water, and she managed to save Lisa. Now back to these kids who were stuck in the house. But even though it was flooded, like the house was flooded, they could close like a door to keep the sharks out and not come into the house because at this point none have come in. None have came through in the house. So Dee, the young girl out of the group, decides to go and close the doors so no sharks can get in. But that pissed me off because Ron was the oldest and the tallest, and he's a boy. So that means he had more strength than her. So I was confused why he wasn't the one to do that task, especially knowing Dee wasn't going to be able to close the door because she didn't have the reach. She couldn't fully reach the door to close it along it's flooded. So that's pressure she's going against. It was just all wrong. So all we see is Ron next to Will, gasping and shocked and screaming, "Dee don't fall," as she risked her life. So then they have this plan to go to the basement and get things to help them escape the sharks that's now in the house. So as they sit on top of this table they on, or a little island they're on, they're talking to each other, trying to come up with a plan. And the young boy Will, who with them, brings up how Billy Olsen, which is their foster dad, doesn't like them going down to the basement because in the beginning of the movie, Billy and Rachel was cursing out Dee for going downstairs, and she had seen that they had stakes and guns down there, but didn't want to feed them kids. Dead wrong, dead nasty. Ugh, I hate people like that. But anyways, as they're talking, Ron say, "Fuck Mr. Olsen," because he got bitten up by the shark. So it doesn't matter what Mr. Olsen think or want, because he ain't here. Y'all, tell me why Mr. Olsen, aka Billy, jumps out of the water from nowhere with his bitten off hand, complaining and scaring the kids. Hell, they scared me too. I thought it was a shark because Billy's supposed to be dead, only for him to survive. Man, I swear, evil never dies. Never. So he tries to get the kids to risk their life for him, not even them, for him. But they end up fighting him and throwing him over off of the table that they were standing on. So they threw him into the water because they knew, he tried to lead them. And while the sharks were eating up Ron, because they in the house, so I said Ron. While the sharks were eating up Billy, Ron, this is time. This is opportunity to get to the basement. So he went down to the basement. He got the steak that Billy and Rachel was hiding from them, and he also got lucky with some dynamite. And they used that to blow up the sharks. And they was able to get to the truck, which is again a submarine truck. And I love that for them because the water was flooded near them, but it wasn't as bad as it was near Dakota and Lisa and them. So now let's get back to Dakota and Lisa. Now, this is where the movie said, let's go all the way off the rails. Let's go crazy. This is the moment. So, of course, with all this chaos going on, Lisa damn baby decides he wants to come up out of her. And I felt bad for her because she just knew she was going to have a calm hospital birth on a comfy bed with her meds and with a push it plate baby, push it baby playlist. Like, baby, she was supposed to live it up and live good when she had this baby. Only to be in a flooded house surrounded by sharks with Dakota playing her doctor as she has this mini panic attacks because Dakota just keep having these panic attacks and losing her mind. Jesus. So because they had a little time before the baby actually popped up, the water at this point is to the roof and they had to get out of the house because it was starting to collapse. So Dakota risked her life again to go in the middle of the water to go and get this boat that was near them, but it was kind of across. But of course, the bull sharks sensed her immediately and started heading her way. As they were gaining on her, gaining, she stops mid-stroke to look around. Like, why? Why would she do that? I hate when people are swimming to get away from sharks and then they just stop to look around, especially when they know the sharks are getting close. What are you doing? And you're getting close to what you're near. Mind you, she was literally a few strokes, 1, 2, 3 away from the boat she could have jumped in. And the only reason she got lucky with the sharks not eating her alive is because this great white shark ran the bull sharks off. While all that is happening, the house finally collapsed on poor Lisa. So she gets swept up into the water. And she was then able to, but then eventually she was able to swim up and grab onto this dresser so she can stay afloat. And boom, goes into labor in the middle of the water, nothing to grab on. So now the baby is out. She is sitting in this pool of blood and basically an easy target for the sharks. It was insane. But what made it even crazier, she cuts her umbilical cord herself with a piece of wood that was just floating in the water. She put her baby on the drawer and went full mama bear mode on the sharks. She went crazy. Trying to fight them off. This was a crazy movie. Fighting them off her life depending on it. And it did. Her life and the baby life depending on it. That whole scene, I'm not gonna lie, it was fire. It was crazy, but it was fire. Even though it was, unrealistic. The idea of it landed well for me. And just when you think it's over, another shark started coming her way again. And at this point, she done tapped out because she gave all she had in the first shark fight. So she was ready for it to take her and her son to the king, baby. Take me to the king. But Dakota came through with one of those little shark fish arrow things and popped it before it got to Lisa. It was so intense. It was so intense. It was good. I was like, and you would have thought at that very moment they were scot-free. Nope, they wasn't, because that wasn't enough to keep our hearts pounding. When Dakota got to them with the boat, of course she grabbed the baby first to put him in the boat. Boom, another shark comes and throw them over the damn boat. So now the boat done flipped over, they back in the water, and all the sharks are now coming their way. But Uncle Dr. Dale Edwards, he came through. He came through just in time to, he know how to operate with the sharks because he's a marine biologist. So he kind of know what to do, and he been studying them for a while. So he came just in time, and like he threw like this little light sharker thing into the water, and it scared them off to get them off of scared the sharks off to get them off of Dakota and Lisa. And then this big ass, that same big ass great white shark jumped up and started to eat one of the bull sharks. It was crazy. Like everybody just like, what the hell did we just watch? Like it was crazy. But overall, my thoughts on the film were that the CGI could have been a little better, and the sharks definitely could have looked better. I personally would rather them give me like one or two realistic looking sharks than six unrealistic sharks. But that's just me and my thoughts. And some of the decisions being made throughout the movie were just absolutely ridiculous. But the idea of multiple sharks, multiple storylines, and nonstop chaos, it worked. It worked. I liked it because once it got going, I could not look away. It was messy, it was stressful, it was unrealistic as hell, but it was entertaining. But it was entertaining, and sometimes that's all a shark movie needs. So with all that being said, y'all already know what to do. Like this video and show your girl some love. Comment your thoughts below and we can discuss the film. And last but certainly not least, subscribe and join the Queen, baby. Bye.